Live from the Ball State News Center, this is NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Jason Poore.
And I'm Mackenzie Clark. Thanks for joining us. So it's been relatively warmer outside.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, today I felt like it was almost spring.
And I went from 2 scarves to 1. So let's toss over to Adam Berniston to see just what the weather has around the corner.
Thanks, Mackenzie and Jason. We have had some warmer temperatures today in terms of the past few weeks. But currently I have been tracking this clipper system that has been moving closer to Muncie. Now this will cool down our area for the next couple days and cause some scattered snow throughout Thursday as well. But right here in Muncie, we are currently sitting at 22 degrees still because of the cloudy skies in our area. We'll keep those temperatures even, but because of these winds out of the east-northeast at 8 miles an hour, it will feel a little cool. Right now, the feels like is at 13 degrees, so you'll definitely want to stay bundled up for the rest of the night. But coming up, I will talk about some more snow events to occur and how much we expect on Thursday, as well as your spring break weekend travel weather. And then I'll talk about your 7-day forecast. All that and more to come, but first, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Adam. Due to several fires across the city, Muncie Fire Chief Eddie Bell is urging citizens to be cautious while heating their homes. Bell has released a list of tips for citizens to follow in an effort to avoid even more fires. Some tips include installing and properly maintaining smoke detectors along with testing them once a month and replacing batteries once a year. Keep space heaters at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn and never leave space heaters on when you leave the house.
At least 26 people have contracted HIV over the past 3 months in southeastern Indiana, according to state health officials. The outbreak stems mainly from recreational injection of a powerful painkiller called Opana. Officials say these cases could just be the start and that the state is reaching out to people who share needles or were sexual partners with those affected.
More health insurance customers' information may have been stolen in the Anthem hack. Between 8 and 18 million non-Anthem customers may have had their personal information, including Social Security numbers, stolen. Because Anthem is part of the National Blue Cross Blue Shield network, non-customers' information could be in the hacked database. Anthem now estimates that the cyber attack affects more than 78 million people.
There are a lot of Americans who are not getting enough sleep. In fact, the problem has reached the point where the CDC is calling a lack of sleep a public health epidemic. Researchers at Columbia University are calling the Great Sleep Recession. They conducted an extensive survey and found that during a 21-year period, teens were getting less and less sleep. Teens should get at least 9 hours of sleep. The average is only 7. So what happens if you don't get enough sleep? It can cause you to eat more. It also shrinks your brain. Sleep deprivation also is linked to type 2 diabetes. If you don't get enough rest, you could also have slow reaction time, which isn't good for things like driving, and you may develop false memories.
After months of discussion and deliberation, eye-step testing began in schools across Indiana today. The test, which doubled in length, is still a topic of discussion and will be given throughout the next week. Governor Mike Pence signed a bill that will shorten the test by 3 hours in the future, although so far, testing across the state has run smoothly.
Ball State students are getting a taste of the competition they'll face in the real world with the 80th Annual Student Art Show. Reporter Ashley Lehue has the story.
Art pieces of all mediums are now being showcased in the Atrium Art Gallery. Art professor and chairman of the event, Mary Carter, speaks about why Ball State has kept the program alive for 80 years.
This show serves a real need to giving them a taste. This is what it feels like. This is what it's going to be like.
After 200 art pieces were submitted, only 57 were selected as finalists, and even fewer received scholarships. Senior Rachel Yoder says that the panel of judges is what makes the program particularly competitive.
It is judged by a panel of teachers as well as one outside juror that we bring in. So this year it was Chris Sickles, who is an illustrator and a graphic designer.
And that is one of the big claims to fame, and we know this because we checked with other universities. We hire an outside juror.
Carter recalls what Chris Sickles told her art students.
If you didn't get in the show, use it to motivate yourself to do better. Don't basically said, don't waste any time feeling sorry for yourself. Just use it as motivation. And then the last thing he said is, don't stop working. Don't stop.
In Muncie, Ashley Lehue, NewsLink, Indiana.
Admission to the Atrium Gallery is free, and the winning pieces will be on display until March 13th. Ball State student government election of 2015 is now over, and Atlas took home the victory. NewsLink Indiana's Jayla Washington asked Atlas what's next for them now. The new executive. Coming up next, the Department of Homeland Security is on the verge of shutting down.
And ISIS almost got 3 recruits from the U.S., but they were stopped in New York. That story and more after the break.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome back. 3 men were arrested today accused of trying to join ISIS. They were picked up in New York and Florida. The suspects were identified as 24-year-old Abdurasul Joraboyev, 19-year-old Aror Saeed Akhmetov, and 30-year-old Abror Abibov. Officials say 2 of the 3 men were planning to fly out of New York to Turkey today, hijack the plane, and divert it to the Islamic State.
A joint operation that arrests were made of 3 individuals for actions directed against the United States.
The men also are accused of discussing violent attacks that targeted the president, U.S. troops, FBI agents, and police officers. They face charges that include attempting and conspiring to provide material support and resources to a foreign terrorist. 2 of the suspects were legal, permanent U.S. residents. The 3rd was here legally, but had overstayed his visa.
Washington is a little more than 2 days away from pulling funding from the Department of Homeland Security because of an impasse over the bill being tied to some of President Obama's controversial executive actions on immigration. With little movement on Capitol Hill, Washington is in a partial shutdown on the horizon. Sunleaf Surfati has the latest in Washington.
Urgency emerges on Capitol Hill, but a path forward does not. Today, Speaker of the House John Boehner says he won't budge.
So until the Senate does something, we're in a wait-and-see mode.
This comes after a key concession was made by his counterpart in the Senate Tuesday. Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell offered to hold a vote on a clean bill to fund DHS through September and a separate vote to stop the president's executive actions on immigration. But that is a hard sell among conservative House Republicans. Many will only vote for a funding bill if it's linked with immigration.
I am not going to vote for any legislation, whether it be long-term or short-term, that supports illegal and unconstitutional conduct.
Meanwhile, time is running out to avoid a partial shutdown of the agency responsible for protecting the homeland. If no deal is passed before midnight Friday, around 200,000 essential DHS employees could work without pay. Workers from the TSA, Coast Guard, Border Patrol, and Secret Service would be impacted, and local economies and businesses could also suffer.
There are concrete, dramatic consequences for the homeland security of this nation if we allow the funding of the department to lapse.
Those consequences become reality in a matter of days unless a deal is reached. In Washington, I'm Sunleaf Surfati.
And on Wednesday afternoon, the Senate voted 98-2 to open the debate on a bill that would fund the Department of Homeland Security through September. If it passes, clean spending bill will move to the House.
Ball State student government election of 2015 is now over, and Atlas took home the victory. NewsLink Indiana's Jayla Washington asked Atlas what's next for them now.
Thank you.
We won!
On February 24th,
The Atlas slate swept their second place opponent, Cardinal Direction, by an outstanding 175 votes, with their winning total at 1,631 votes. The Atlas slate focuses on engagement, vision, and awareness for their platform. They plan to implement News from the Nest, extend the ad drop period for students, along with creating a Blue Loop extension. Vice President Richu Abbey says it's important to represent the interests of the students.
If we didn't have a senator pushing for the Blue Loop, it would have never been on this campus. If we didn't have senators pushing for benches in the quad, we wouldn't have that. If we didn't have senators pushing for no more Fruits Days, we wouldn't have that. You know, there's like a list of things that I can go on and on and on and tell you about that senators have pushed for. And if they hadn't, then Ball State wouldn't be where it is today.
Abby says that Atlas is excited to work with the city of Muncie on the pothole issue and with university officials. Abby says that we can expect the same passion and drive that led their campaign, along with real change for Ball State. In Muncie, Jayla Washington, NewsLink, Indiana.
The new executive slate will be installed at a ceremony on April 15th.
The verdict in the American Sniper murder trial, guilty. A Texas jury rejected Eddie Ray Ruth's insanity defense on the shooting deaths of former Navy SEAL Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield. The judge in the case promptly sentenced Ruth to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Martin Savage reports.
We've waited 2 years for God to get justice for us on behalf of our son.
Breaking overnight, the American Sniper trial, captivating a nation, is over.
We, the jury, find the defendant Eddie Ray Routh guilty.
Deliberating for less than 3 hours, the jury found 27-year-old Eddie Ray Routh guilty of killing former Navy SEAL Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield. The former Marine seemingly showing no reaction as the judge sentenced him to a life behind bars without parole.
He thought he had to take their lives because he was in danger.
Jurors rejecting defense arguments that Routh, diagnosed with PTSD, was legally insane.
I've been so paranoid, schizophrenic all day, I don't know what to even think of the world right now.
The 27-year-old shown here in 2013, moments after police arrested him for shooting Kyle and Littlefield multiple times at a gun range. Later, Routh told police he believed his victims were pig-human hybrids.
I've been smelling it this whole time.
In an unusual circumstance, the judge barred audio from the trial until the verdict was reached.
He was very suicidal.
Routh's mother, Jody, who claimed Eddie once threatened to kill himself and their family, retold what she did the moment she heard her son killed Kyle.
I had Chris's phone number in my phone, and I dialed that number praying to God that he would answer.
Taya Kyle, the wife of the former sniper, was overcome with emotion on the stand.
Take a minute if you need to.
Recalling the last time she saw her husband.
We just said we loved each other and gave each other a kiss and a hug like we always did.
Coming up, spring break starts this weekend, but more snow is on the way.
And how will the weather affect spring break travel? Your full weather forecast is up next.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome back. Mackenzie, spring break is right around the corner. I know I'm heading to New York here in a couple of days, and I'm hoping by chance it's going to be a little warmer there than it is here.
I'm going all the way up north. So, Adam, tell us that it's not going to be awfully cold outside, or what's it going to be?
Thanks, guys. As we've seen, we have had that below average temperatures, but as I'll talk about here soon, I will talk about how spring break is shaping here in Muncie. But right now, I have been tracking this Clipper system, which is moving in, and as far as snow totals goes, right now, we are expecting around 7/10 of an inch. Some areas could see more. Up in Portland is looking around an inch. but this will be a scattered event, so some localized could see more or less as far as snow totals for tomorrow. But across the nation, these colder temperatures are because of this massive Canadian air mass that is affecting much of the eastern United States right now and reaching further south into parts of Mississippi, even Georgia as well. But local here, closer to home, temperatures up in Fort Wayne, we're looking at around 9 degrees for Fort Wayne, 18 in Indianapolis. Bloomington, surprisingly, still at 22, which is the story for here in Muncie as well. We're currently sitting at the 22 degrees because of that cloud cover in our area as well. But with these winds at 8 miles an hour, it is going to feel like only 13 degrees outside. So unfortunately, you will want to stay bundled up. And for tomorrow, with these snowstorm moving in, some snow bands, we are going to see some windy conditions, which is going to make it feel chilly tomorrow as well. So you'll want to bundle up tomorrow. And wind chill values will even stay in the single digits throughout most of the day. Some areas could get up to 10-degree wind chill as well. But for tonight, we are expecting a low of 12 degrees. Still those breezy conditions as that snow starts to move closer to the area. But for tomorrow, I am expecting a high of 16 degrees, but because of those windy conditions, we are going to see wind chill values in the single digits. But for the weekend and the rest of this week, Friday, we are only expecting a high of 13 degrees, but a high of 20 on Saturday. Now, if you're traveling anywhere for spring break, this weekend is going to be sunny. However, on Sunday, we are going to have some snowy conditions, which could cause some major travel events and cautions on the road. So as you travel on Sunday or have any plans on Sunday, you'll definitely want to be careful because right now it's looking like a lot like this past weekend's snow event where we got around 5 inches, but snow totals right now are unsure, but you'll want to keep following that as well, and we'll keep tracking that storm.
All right, thanks for that, Adam.
And coming up, the girls basketball. We'll have a recap of the girls basketball game live at Worthen.
And find out about the good news that we got today for our swimming and diving teams. That's up next.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. Let's take a look at sports from around the area. The Ball State women's basketball team is in action tonight at Worthen Arena. The Cardinals hosted Mid-American Conference opponent Eastern Michigan. The Cardinals lead the MAC Conference West Division with Western Michigan right behind them. Ball State finds themselves in the middle of a 5-game winning streak as they look to improve that to 6. The Cardinals started out keeping the game close with the score tied at 13 with a little over 3 minutes left in the half. But then Eastern Michigan made some shots and increased their lead and went into the half, leading Ball State 21-15. Both teams had trouble shooting going into the half, shooting only 25% from the floor. In the second half, the Eastern Michigan Eagles took control and never let Ball State back into the game. Ball State lost 56-41 to snap their 5-game winning streak. And now to gymnastics. The Ball State gymnastics team is prepping for this Friday night when they host Northern Illinois. The Cardinals will be looking for a strong performance as Friday is senior night. NewsLink Indiana's Sam Matlin sat down with the gymnastics squad to talk about how they prepare for big meetings.
We usually have different workouts for different days of the week. As we get closer to the meet, there is like that last day before we go off to competition. That day we call that happy day. So they all will do all 4 events on that day, and they basically go over warm up, compete that event, and then work on whatever little details they need to work on for that day. So there's not a lot of work done, you know, with lots of numbers, but they do lots of little things. During the earlier parts of the week, we work on a lot of basics, a lot of form, and then usually in the middle of the week is when we get lots and lots of numbers done and make sure that we get the repetition and endurance done that we need to do for the week.
Our team's greatest accomplishment is really sticking together as a team. Previous years, we've always kind of done our own thing, and it's more of an individual type mindset. But this year, we've really pulled together as a team and really taken on different teams and had a great outcome.
And the Ball State swimming and dive team, received some good news from the classroom as they head to the MAC Championship in Eastern Michigan. The team earned the 3rd spot for all Division I women's programs. The award comes from the College Swimming Coaches Association of America. The team's grade point average for the Cardinals was a 3.58 in the fall. Clemson and Eastern Michigan finished 1 and 2 with a 3.59 GPA, just ahead of the Cardinals.
Well, it'll be exciting to see how the gymnastics team does, and we wish them best of luck.
Absolutely. And after the break, a show close to Indiana's heart is now over.
And a famous singer joining the cast of the popular TV show Your Entertainment News is coming up next.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Kayla Harpold with your entertainment news. A television show favorite aired their final episode last night. According to viewers, Parks and Rec ended their season finale on a positive note by giving viewers a peek into each character's future past the show. The program ran for 7 seasons and was nominated for 4 Golden Globes and 5 Emmys. A new face will be making an appearance on the 5th series of the well-known television show American Horror Story. Lady Gaga has recently announced that she has been signed for the next edition of this FX anthology series. The theme of the 5th season, released by Gaga via Twitter, is American Horror Story Hotel. This is the singer's first lead acting role in a major production. Season 5 is expected to premiere October 2015. And that's all for your entertainment news.
Thanks, Kayla. The Indiana House passed today the Indy 11 Stadium bill to finance an $82 million structure. The 74-21 approval by the House sends the bill to the Senate. Senate Leader David Long says there are bigger priorities, though, than a soccer stadium.
The stadium would be funded through tax revenue generated by the facility. Indy 11 pushed this bill last year, but it stalled in the last year's Senate. So Adam, one more look at weather. What's it going to be?
So we're going to have that snow tomorrow, but then coming on Friday, we're going to have another cool down to a high of 13 degrees. But luckily for those travelers for spring break heading down south or anywhere else, Friday, Saturday are going to be sunny. Come Sunday, we could see another snowstorm similar to this one we had this past weekend. So you'll want to watch road conditions as well. And then for the start of spring break or your work week, we are going to see some warmer temperatures. However, they will be below average. So for spring breakers, if you're going down south to Florida, I have heard temperatures are going to be fairly nice down there in the mid 60s, upper 70s. So those people will be lucky. If you're stuck in here in Muncie, will be a little bit cooler.
And that's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to watch tomorrow night right here, 9 p.m. on Cardinal Vision.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a good night.